Welcome to your lesson about the basics of drawing. The lesson objectives are to demonstrate the use of contour lines to sketch a variety of shapes, demonstrate good drawing habits such as using a consistent line quality, using searching lines and lightly drawn lines, and observing shapes and negative space, as well as learn to focus on the lines and shapes that make up an object rather than the object as a whole. So we're focusing on two types of drawing right now, observational drawing and contour drawing. Contour drawings are basically made out of outlines, and observational drawing is where we're looking at objects and we're drawing what we can see. So why learn observational drawing strategies? It's to help gain confidence when you're sketching, to develop a strong work ethic because you have to follow through when you're sketching something, to learn to really see. That is something we're focusing on for this lesson, learning to really see what is there rather than just assuming what is there. Also to increase hand-eye coordination, because when you're sketching, you have to look at something, but your brain also has to tell your hand how to move in order to create those lines using pencil, and also to break bad drawing habits. We're going to review what those are and to help develop focus and concentration. In order to sketch and draw, you need to be able to focus and concentrate on what you're looking at. You literally have to quiet your brain. Now, observational drawing skills are essential to success with a realistic drawing. And observational drawing requires us to look. We have to understand the lines, shapes, textures, etc. Now, the myth about realistic drawing is to be an artist, you must be able to draw or paint without any reference. That is totally not true. Most artists work with some sort of reference, whether it's a printed reference from the computer or something they see on the computer, or it's a reference, it's an object in real life. When we draw from observation, we improve our observational drawing skills. So eventually we will get to something like this. So remember that most artwork, if it's 2D, begins with a drawing, whether it's a sketch of a still life or a sketch for illustration. Even for the movie Frozen, they had to sketch what Elsa's facial features would look like, even before they made them into 3D. This is a sketch by Hayao Miyazaki. This is also a sketch by Leonardo da Vinci. The secret to good observational drawing is to draw what you see, not what you think you see. Yes, when we're drawing an apple, we know what the object looks like, but I want you to draw the object that's actually in front of you, right? So if you're drawing an apple, draw the actual apple in front of you. You have to literally quiet your brain in order to observe. So to create these sketches, the artist had to actually look at the object. Before we even get to shading, that's where we make things look three-dimensional, we need to learn contour drawing, which is basically line drawing, and that's what we're going to focus on first. Shading is what makes the object appear more realistic, and we will get to that later. Now let's start with some breaking bad drawing habits. So instead of drawing what we think something looks like, we're going to trick our brains into actually noticing the shapes, edges, and details. Now when we're sketching, we need to pay attention to how we're holding a pencil. You shouldn't be holding your pencil way out here. You also should not be holding your pencil right at the tip. We want to hold it comfortably. We don't want to grip. We don't want to give it a death grip, all right? You want to hold the pencil properly in your hand. And make sure you're using a pencil, not a mechanical pencil. Even if you're like, Miss J, I want tiny little lines. You can do that using a regular pencil. So I should see you using a regular drawing pencil, not a mechanical pencil. The paper that we draw on has a tooth. That's what gives it a slight roughness. That's what gives it a slight thickness. However, that can make it easier or harder for us to draw. For example, you're going to sketch along with me. So we're going to use soft pressure. Okay, let's use soft pressure. So just sketch a bunch of circles on your paper. Use light pressure. You probably cannot see it here in the video because I'm sketching so light. We're going to draw a series of circles using hard pressure. Just don't break your pencil. So when we draw with hard pressure, we're literally cutting into the tooth of the paper. We are literally indenting the paper. And that makes it very difficult to erase because our eraser cannot get into those crevices. That's as much as I can erase. And the problem is those lines are still there. So we do not want to push too hard. When you use softer pressure, when you use lighter pressure, you're not pushing so hard into the paper, and that makes it easier to erase and fix your lines later on. So we always want to draw using a soft pressure. Another bad drawing habit. Don't try to draw everything in one attempt. Often we see an object and we want to draw everything that's there right away. No, you are going to actually use something that we call searching lines. So follow along with me. You're going to draw a square. Now I'm using searching lines because I'm keeping my lines loose. I'm not going too hard right away. Now let's draw a triangle. Keep your lines loose. You're just searching. Next, you're going to commit your lines. Which lines do you want to keep? So we're going to start loose with your lines before darkening them in. So now I'm going to decide, okay, with this square, I'm going to go a little darker. And I'm going to darken in the lines that I want to keep, because I can always erase some of these other lines later on. So keep in mind that lighter lines are easier to erase. If you make a boo-boo, easy to erase. If you push hard and you have darker lines, they're harder to erase. So we always want to start with your searching lines before we end up committing your lines. A few more things to keep in mind in terms of breaking bad drawing habits. Always have a resource. When you're sketching, always work from a resource. A resource is the actual object or a picture of it. Even if you're making a line drawing, work from that line drawing. A resource forces you to draw what you actually see, not what you think you see. Mark making. We just practice that. Keep your lines light till you get it right. Use short lines and light pressure with your pencil. It's easy to darken something, but it's much harder to lighten something. And 70-30, looking versus drawing. When you're drawing, let your hand do the drawing while your eyes do the looking. 70% of your time should be spent studying and observing your object as you draw it. 30% of your time should be spent fine-tuning your drawing, checking your work. Again, we're drawing what you see and what is actually there, not what you imagine or think there is. So let's sketch. Let's get to some line drawing exercises. So on your paper, you're going to copy this letter. Make sure you're drawing the outer edges. So for this exercise, you're going to actually draw the outline of the A. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my computer screen, and what I'm doing is I'm noticing the edges of this letter. I'm not just writing the letter A, but I'm noticing where the slope is. And again, I'm starting with light lines. I'm not darkening them in right away. If you need to fix your edges, you can always erase. But notice there's a thickness to these parts. There's also some negative space here. Now, hopefully you might have noticed that there's actually shapes that create this letter. You actually could have thought of your drawing as a series of shapes, and then you add the curves in. So for the next exercise, you're going to draw these series of letters. Don't write it though. You're going to copy the shapes. So make sure you have the word in front of you. I have it in front of me here. It's off screen. And again, I'm going to slow down and look at the shapes. I know what it says. I recognize the letter, but I'm going to draw what's actually there. Notice the changes of the font. If you realize your drawing is not accurate, pause, erase, and adjust your lines. Again, we're going to keep our lines light before we start darkening them in right away.